Style takes too long. I can't fit anything. I have nothing in this closet. Oh, I'll just stay home. I need to purge my closet. Oh, but not that dress. Yo, Taylor here. If you ever thought to say one of these phrases, then this show is for you. Join me at the Style Table, where we'll have candid and fun conversations about real women's style issues and wardrobe dilemmas. We will discuss solutions and ideas that will give you a big sigh of relief. You'll learn ways to save money, make money, and enrich the lives of others with the clothes in your closet. We're going to take the stress out of your style. Hey everybody, it is Yo on the Go back here at the Style Table, and I'm here with Dr. Akemi Stout. She is the CEO and founder of Educator for Life, LLC, and PicturePerfect.net. She is a motivational speaker, and she is a serious fashionista. Welcome to the show, Dr. Stout.
Thank you. And it is myperfectpicture.net.
What does that mean exactly, Educator for Life?
Educator for Life is a concept that I came up with when I was working as a classroom teacher. When I was working as a teacher in the classroom, we needed a platform to teach from. I had a lot of students that were, missing class, or, I wanted to make sure those resources were going to be available to them, which I was teaching from on a daily basis beyond the classroom. Because I was teaching information and communication technology, and just to me, that's just teaching basic computer skills and teaching the history of computers, and also giving them skills that they could use beyond the classroom. So I created a website called Educator for Life, and the purpose of the website was to to provide them an opportunity to be able to receive those resources, but also, when I thought about the concept of it, Educator for Life, I wanted to make sure that it was something that I could constantly push information to, constantly upload resources, and those same students, their parents, or whomever got access to that website could go there and know that that was a premier site for them to go to. Because the goal is, if you're an Educator for Life, you are giving information on a daily basis. You're making sure that whenever you open your mouth, there's going to be knowledge that that person can grasp and take with them on the next level, take with them, put it in their bag, put it in their satchel throughout their journey. The slogan for Educator for Life is, we are given the endowed task to yield our intellectual wisdom to others daily. And when you do that, you become an educator for life. So it's not just structured to be for a classroom setting. It's not just for educators. We are all educators for life. Whenever we speak, we should be mindful of the words that come out of our mouth, because the thought is produced here first, right? The conceptualization starts here and then it flows. So that's my concept. And I wanted to make sure that whenever I spoke, whenever my students spoke, they remembered that. So often I have students that remember that website, even as young adults now. And they ask me, they tell me, I go out there all the time when I want to go find something about Microsoft Office. I can go to your website. Perfect. That's exactly what it was created for. It was created as an information hub.
Wow, that is fantastic. That is awesome. And you also, let's talk about myperfectpicture.net.
My perfect picture was born out of COVID. I've always had a gift to draw, to paint. Oftentimes when people draw, they generally don't paint. They're not an artist in that way. They have, a different skill set. Well, I enjoy color. I enjoy mixing colors. I enjoy creating something beautiful, taking something that wasn't very attractive and changing, whether it was wood, regardless of what the mediums were, wood, metal, canvas, gesso, canvas. It just depends on whatever it is. I want to change it. I've always been like that. So during COVID, we were at home. We couldn't go a lot of places. We couldn't do a lot of things. So that's when all these crafts, come back to play. And I had someone ask me to do some artwork for them. And I asked them, what is it that you want me to do? Well, they saw something that I had done prior, and they said, would you do some pictures for me? So they sent me some pictures, and I changed background in the picture, and I did like a digital image of that picture, and I painted it. So when I did that digital image, excuse me, my phone is ringing. When I did that digital image of that picture for them and they agreed, I immediately got to painting. And the very first one was on a 16 by 20. But I originally got started, basically because of people who didn't have a picture of their loved one that they lost in COVID. So, oil paintings are very expensive. So I came up with a concept with my perfect picture where you can send me a headshot, send me a picture of that person, a pretty good picture where I can really see their attributes or whatnot. You send me that picture, I put them in a different place, create that a background of places they maybe they wanted to visit before they passed. I create that artwork for you. You like it, I paint it. But this is what I do differently. I paint it on a canvas, I paint it on wood, or I put that on metal, I put it on a mirror. Those are some of my, really, really wonderful pictures when I put them on mirrors because of reflections. But I paint on top of vinyl, clear vinyl. So I take clear vinyl and I heat that clear vinyl to whatever that other substrate is. And the purpose of doing that, and I've trademarked that process, as a matter of fact, I do have a trademark for that. The purpose of that is to create the perfect picture image on vinyl so that when I clear coat it, because I've gotten that from working with my husband, he has a hydro dipping water transfer company, and I learned how to do automotive painting. So I know how to paint cars and all that kind of stuff as well. So I get to use his automotive clear coat on that picture. So when a picture is done, I'm done painting that picture on that vinyl canvas. I clear coat it with automotive clear coat. So the idea is you're going to get an oil painting look, and that picture is going to be preserved for life. So it gives you the opportunity to own a picture that looks like a very, very expensive oil painting for a fraction of the cost.
You do motivational speaking as well, correct?
Whenever given the opportunity to do so, yes. I haven't done it as much as I would like to, but I've spoken to student bodies, I've spoken to churches, I've spoken to churches that have brought me in, and my conversation is generally, uplifting, uplifting, and you can do it. I did it. And to me, in order to get people to trust the message, not just trust you, but trust the message, a lot of times we look at the person, but get the message. To trust that message, you have to be willing to become a little vulnerable. You have to be willing to allow them to, really, really get a bird's eye view inside of whom you are and some of your failures, some of your mistakes, some of those fragile moments that you've had throughout life, but you've been able to pick yourself up, or you allowed yourself to hold hand with someone that maybe you didn't know that helped you to move, and get back and get your grounding. So those are the kinds of conversations and speeches that I've done. And I really enjoy them because when you speak, it's like something happens, especially when you're speaking and you're speaking about things that are spiritually uplifting to others. It's like just something just happens in that space. And that to me it's surreal. You can't really just put a word to it.
Well, I can tell you this, honestly, after meeting you, we talked before the interview, and you gave me life. You ministered to me, and you uplifted me, and you motivated me, and, because we all need, you feel confident, but we all need that extra push, that extra lift to help us on our journey to trying something new and wanting to succeed and wanting to be better and wanting to help others. And you spent your time supporting me. So this is something that truly I can attest to, being a recipient of what you're speaking of as far as a motivational speaker. You definitely left me filled So I know
Awesome.
that people who are
Glad I could.
listening to you are receiving that gift from you. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk to Dr. Stout about her style. All right, everybody. It's Yo on the Go back here with Dr. Akemi Stout. We are now talking about this fashionista's desire. I won't say lust. That sounds so simple. But her desire for fashion and her passion for fashion. She is someone who works sometimes in an area, or she's in an arena where she's working mostly with men, right? Is that correct? And
Correct.
so being a fashionista, you also have to be careful because you want to look professional. So how do you navigate that, or can you share an example of how you navigated that arena?
Because I work in the labor industry, unions, that is the industry that I work within. Oftentimes it's not about dressing up unless you're in a particular type of meeting, but I choose to go looking very different. And when I mean different, I want to look like I've just, walked out of that magazine, or I've got these beautiful clothes in my closet and I could very well be mixing and matching them up every time. But to me, growing up, that's what I saw with my mother when I saw my grandmother. The hat, the purse, and the shoes, Southern. Even if the outfit doesn't match, the hat, purse, and the shoes match, the jewelry. So I grew up like that. I grew up knowing this is how a lady is supposed to look. A lady should always be dressed well. Her hair should be done. If she wears makeup, it needs to be right. You don't need to look like you came out of a coffin. These are just things that were told. The things we had to deal with back in the day. It was always oily, greasy. I'm not calling out a brand, but you just knew these were things that you had to contend with. When it comes to looking a certain way. So working in that field that's primarily male dominated, you have to own that presence. And when you own your presence in that space, I don't have to blend and become invisible in that space just because I'm the only female. No, if you say you are Dr. Doolittle or Dr. So-so, you should look that way. You should look the part that you play. And you may not look like that all the time. I mean, everybody has their moments, but those times when you can, or when I can, I'm going to do my darndest to make sure that I own that space, because oftentimes I am the only female in that space when I meet with the other union leaders or other people that are, within that same arena that I'm in, that same workforce body. It is very different. It reminds me of when I was in computer science. There weren't a whole lot of women that were in computer science. It's only in the last 7 or 8 years we've been having a lot of conversation about STEM technology. You didn't see a lot of women. It was that male dominated, industry, and breaking down those walls. Like, look, I can do this. I know how to do this. A lot of times as women, we're very aggressive, and that aggressiveness shows in our clothes because we wear the bold colors, and you want to make sure your hair is a certain way. I looked at legislation that they passed about, talking about our crown, the Crown Act. In my field, a lot of times you couldn't do that. You knew you could not have braids. You knew if you did have braids and it was allowed at some point, they had to look a certain way. They had to look like the lady who was the editor of Essence. She was always so astute. But you couldn't just come in and say, hey, this is who I am. I'm intelligent. I'm beautiful. I am a Black woman. I just happen to be all of these things embodied in one, and then be expected to be accepted and appreciated. No, that's not how life worked for you. So you always have to be a step above the rest. And just so happen when you're around men, of course, you need to look a certain way because, something I find that's interesting, whether you look provocative or not, if a man wants to say something to you, they will.
Yeah.
But remember, you're owning that space. Remember, you're owning that space. And but I have learned from being around a lot of men working, not that I have anything against men in the workforce. I don't want anyone to get that perception of anything, because I enjoy men, whatever, level that may be. But understand that when questions are asked, things are said, there's always a reason, good, bad, and indifferent. And that's where Educator for Life comes into play. No matter what is stated, we're always teaching somebody something, good, bad, and indifferent. And even in your clothing, you're teaching, you're sharing, you are pushing out there a perception of whom you are, what you like, what you don't like, what to expect of you. A woman that wears pearls, what are those thoughts? One that wears a lot of gold, what are those thoughts? But I always change it up. You can't just figure that out because it's however I feel. And most times we dress how we feel. And when you put on something that is absolutely daring, different, you feel daring, you feel different. And you never know. I remember this from being in the classroom when I first went into education. I worked at a school in the Delta, and it was just pretty much volunteering, trying to figure out what's my next step. I still had my company out of Atlanta, and I had this little boy come up to me. He was a young Caucasian male, and he says, "Why do you have on that ugly red lipstick?" I was almost torn. And I said, "You says it's ugly?" He said, "Yes, I liked your lips before that." And I said, wow, they say children say the darndest things, but he was just a kindergarten.
Right.
When I started working with 8th graders and 7th graders, they watch what you wear. They watch what you say. And they're just little people, right?
Right.
They're learning how to create these memories. And, and when they create them, a lot of times the experiences are overlapped based on the environments that they've been in and those persons who have been a part of creating those memories with them. And oftentimes their teachers are those people. So I really took a lot of energy that I wanted to place when it came to the clothing that I wore for my students, because I wanted them to see, this is what I saw in educators.
Yes.
When I walked in the classroom, my teachers were dressed to the T. You thought they were going to the Easter Sunday. They look good. They look professional. They played the part.
Yeah.
They're always watching.
The first 27 seconds, people notice what you have on. So part of your education is not just what you're teaching students and people verbally, but it's also teaching them that your nonverbal, what you're wearing, is also sending a message and is also a part of the education. Because when you step out, you want to, I always think of, you look like what the amount of respect that you want to get. And so,
you project the image that you want people to see.
Absolutely. And also when you feel confident, that also exudes confidence in others in you. Because if you look confident, they feel confident in what information you're going to bestow on them or what they're going to experience while they're in your company.
That's style to me is something I guess I got it from my mom, from my grandmother, from those women that were mentors to me that didn't know that they were mentors to me. My first mentors were my mom and my grandmother. Watching them, listen to what they say, a lot of those euphemisms that come out and you go, oh, well, I remember my grandmother said that I know 30 years ago, 40 years ago. That's what was said. And now I see that coming into fruition. When I watch, I see these coats that women are wearing now, the long dress coats with the, with the wool styling. And I go, my grandmother had that, she had the blue one. This is the one I want now. That's $1,000.
Right. Dr. Stout, please tell us how we can connect with you. Where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram as my picture perfect art on Instagram. Dr. Akemi Educator for Life on Instagram. I'm on TikTok as Dr. Akemi Educator for Life. I am on Facebook, Dr. Akemi. I am also my website, which I'm still uploading things on, Educator for Life, but it's educatorforlife.com. And my perfect picture is myperfectpicture.net. That is our website. So anywhere on either one of those, you can shoot me a message. You can contact me via email because my email is on both of the websites. And hey, let's connect. I'm also on LinkedIn.
Well, that's awesome. And you know, you guys can always find Yo Taylor at thestyletable.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can also see The Style Table LLC. Thanks again and see you next week.